A historical day here in New Jersey. Welcome into NUC TV. I'm your host, Ric Seritella, here with Coach Dave Schuman, Miami Mike on the red carpet here at Miami Mike Sports Zone. And this is the first time we've ever seen something like this, satellite camps and turf battles, Michigan invading, Paramus Catholic raiding, going back to the wishing well, trying to steal the New Jersey recruits, and Rutgers pairing up an unusual tag team with Ohio State and Temple. But let's start it off with Coach Schuman, who's been around high school camps for over a decade. I mean, have you ever seen a spectacle such as the one that we saw here today?
Yeah, I mean, I guess between the two camps, we're talking over 1,500 kids just from the tri-state area primarily. Unbelievable number of players on a field at the same time.
Tell me about it. It was unbelievable.
At the Michigan camp, you had at least 50 coaches that I saw, you know, for college coaches. It might have been 100. Unprecedented. I mean, I talked to the recruiting coordinator from Michigan, Coach Partridge, and he told me that it's by far their largest to date satellite camp. So,
well, there's been a few of these, but nothing like the one here in Jersey today.
No, there's a connection. There's a connection there. It's there.
Yeah,
Michigan and New Jersey / Paramus Catholic.
Right.
There's a big connection there.
Jabrill Peppers.
Oh, it's there.
Rashan Gary was there.
Besides those two, Harbaugh with the Jeter jersey on today, running around with his khakis on. You can't make that up. The kids love that.
He set the tone. He set the tone early on. The auditorium speech. I mean, he came in, addressed the students. He said, "This is how I felt walking onto the field at the Super Bowl." And he might have been serious. I mean,
well, you were right over his shoulder.
He was really.
You caught every single thing he said there.
The energy, the level was high. I mean, you saw coaches, whether it was New Hampshire, Monmouth, Villanova, you saw coaches in the hallways talking to some of the recruits. So at the end of the day, it's all about the students. I know that's something you spoke with Coach Rhule about.
Absolutely.
It's all about the students. The students win, more exposure.
Especially with the camps. You're right. The camps bring the kids out. I witnessed it today firsthand. There was about 1,200 kids, 3 football fields, 25, 30 buses of kids at Farleigh Dickinson today. It was outstanding experience for those kids, as well as for myself being part of it.
And you know, I think one of the interesting things that came out of today, for those of you who might be in the business, but you know, we were talking on the sidelines about the coaches, they weren't getting paid. And not only did they come out for the recruiting experience, but they maybe wanted to see how a camp like this is going on. How are we going to put 700 kids through warm-up drills, and how are we going to break them down by position? I mean, it was interesting to watch.
I think a couple of really interesting things with all the, and obviously being someone that runs camps for a living, I think a couple of interesting things. Number one, if you're a Division I college coach, you have to be saying to yourself, looking at this, is this something that we can emulate ourselves, do next year? And then it creates all kinds of interesting issues for the NCAA as well, because do you want 1,000 camps like this? I think it's great for the kids. I think it's exciting. I think the atmosphere was great, at least you know where I was.
There was a buzz.
Yes, where we were as well.
Yeah, so I think that part is fantastic. I think that's great. The high energy and enthusiasm around football, I think, is important. All the bad press that you see around football all the time. I think this was something that was very positive. Overall for the kids. Now, if you look at it from a recruiting standpoint, you have to say to yourself, okay, how many recruits are really there? Who are they looking at? Or is it really more about a camp experience? I look at it from a camp experience standpoint. I thought the kids had a great camp experience. As far as from a recruiting standpoint, because the way that the rules are, the NCAA, you gotta let every single kid that wants to go to camp go to camp. So you're gonna have some kids that aren't prospects, but that's okay.
That's why there's Division III and Division II schools there.
That's exactly right.
And let me say this much: the number of kids I saw at FDU today, 3 football fields full of kids. Maybe the Pop Warner numbers, they say, are dropping a little bit, like you said, a little negativity with the NFL, concussions and so on. But I'll tell you what, the high school level football is huge.
Yeah, it was
There's
huge.
kids everywhere.
At least in Jersey and
No,
New York.
oh my God.
Jim Harbaugh and Urban Meyer in New
they brought 'em
Jersey
out.
on the same day.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, this is a historical day
Yeah.
in New Jersey football. And New Jersey's churning out that talent year after year. There's top recruits coming out of New Jersey. And, you know, I hate to say it, but Rutgers and Temple and maybe Maryland and Pat Narduzzi from Michigan State, maybe they're getting the Ohio State and Michigan leftovers, but that's not necessarily a bad thing either.
Right, because somebody will step it up. You know, it was, I learned a couple things today as well. Urban Meyer is way above every other coach right now that at the college level that we met today.
Right.
I see the young coach, Temple.
Coach Rhule.
Coach Rhule, he's not up and coming. He's already coming.
Oh yeah,
He won't be a Temple for long.
Yeah.
We know that, okay? And Coach Ash at Rutgers, his
What
young.
would it take?
You know what? Compared to the coach they had last year, you could see that this guy has a different style, his way about him, the way he handled himself on the field. He's bringing the
Energy back.
He's bringing the energy, but he's bringing the focus back. What's Urban Meyer? That's what he spoke about. Stay focused. You need to be focused. You know, you can play college football, but if you're not focused, you're not going to be successful at college football.
But I thought it was interesting that Coach Shiano, right, was there as well. So back.
Listen. He is Rutgers football there.
Yeah.
Everybody from the fans
Love him.
They love him there. They were welcoming him back with open arms, even with the Ohio State.
Had him ranked
on.
number 7.
Oh, listen, he brought Rutgers back to football, and the fans still know it, the alumni know it, and so do the recruits. He was an honor to be around with him today on the field. It was a great day out there.
Well, I think he's a huge asset to Urban Meyer, at least in the Northeast, right? Because Shiano was really beginning to dominate the Northeast.
He was.
Especially New Jersey, but so bringing him there, bringing him back. I think that whole dynamic was, I thought it was really interesting, that dynamic of the two camps at the same time. Two very, very popular, dare I say, celebrity head coaches, right?
For sure.
Harbaugh on one side and obviously Urban Meyer on the other side. Celebrities, probably among
And
the
who's going where? Brian Billick was at Rutgers.
Right.
John Harbaugh.
That was a nice surprise. Nice surprise to have him there.
You're right.
And so, I mean, this is going to be interesting to see, bringing it all back around again. I mean, where do we go from here? Will the NCAA put rules and regulations on these camps? Will we be here next year talking about the same old thing? Is this the new trend? Where do we go? What's the future?
I like the trend. I want to say, I wish it's every summer.
But you'll know more. You know best. It will continue to. I think it's going to be a situation where the coaches that are there today, that were kind of sister schools to the headliners, have to learn from what these guys are doing.
The Farleigh Dickinsons, the Catholic universities, the Rhode Islands,
and the
Monmouth
University of Pittsburgh.
Pitt was strong there today. They had a lot represented.
But the question is, are 1,000 kids coming to a Maryland camp if Jim Harbaugh is not there?
No, absolutely not. I think what the teams that have to build up their programs have to figure out, how can they be the next Jim Harbaugh in the way that they do their camps. What I thought was interesting, like he had, things that we all did in field day in school, like
he's making it fun. He's making it fun.
The 30-yard dash, it was basically like field day. I mean, there's no like.
He loves speed.
Oh, who doesn't love speed?
Hey, this guy slept in a tree trying to recruit a kid from California this year.
Right.
He was climbing up his tree to let him know, hey, I'm here. I'm outside your house. I mean, who does that? That's what Hey, it is. That's what makes him. That's what makes him a little unique, and it makes the recruits say, hey. I could play for this guy, but when it comes down to the X's and O's, you better listen to him.
You're tuned in to NUC TV. We're streaming live. We got the archive. We're going to wrap it up. Final thoughts from today. We'll start off with Mike. Favorite memory from today? What was the moment that stood out to you, if there was one?
Well, the moment that stood out to me most was all the kids basically that were there. Like we had 3 football fields full of kids in full uniform running up and down the fields doing drills.
Enthusiastic about it.
You know, high jump, long jump, 40s. You know, this was a great day today, and being around all these young, talented kids from the metropolitan area was great. And then actually listening to Urban Meyer, who is a championship coach.
Motivational.
And it will be a Hall of Fame coach. It was great being around him today. It was an awesome afternoon at Farleigh Dickinson.
Hard to disagree with that.
Great
Dave, when did you realize how big of a moment this was, and what was your favorite moment from the day?
Well, I think the enthusiasm of the whole camp, I think, was something that I took away. Everything was moving pretty crisply. The coaches were enthusiastic, led by Coach Harbaugh being really enthusiastic towards the camp. But I think what I was really excited about it came for me, you know, getting to see coaches that I know. You know, from being in business for a long time, there's a lot of coaches there, and I think that's one of the things that the coaches enjoy about it. You get to be around other coaches, you get to see players, you get to talk to those players, and I think that's the best part about it. Anytime I go to camp, you know, getting to see familiar faces, being around them, enjoying that. But I mean, enthusiasm, you can't help but take the enthusiasm when Harbaugh was talking about, for him, this is like getting ready for the Super Bowl, and he's comparing frothing of the mouth of horses running in the Kentucky Derby to being ready for this camp. That's how excited he was. So.
The thing is, you talk about it, and I noticed that about the coaches fraternity. Everybody was looking forward to catching up with each other, but Harbaugh was so juiced up, so energized. Yeah. He was yelling in the auditorium. By the time the first drill came, he had the horse throat. Yeah. He lost his voice already. The first drill.
How about this? He was the first person on the field, besides a couple of players. He went out the door, jumped the fence
from the back of the room.
That's what he does.
That's how he got there first.
Like he climbed the tree.
I was at the back of the room.
I was in the back of the room.
And so I was like, how did he get here as fast as I did? Because I was one of the first people out of the room. And he got
Jim Harbaugh hopping fences.
I guess that's why the other three schools did what they did at FD.
Wearing the Jeter jersey.
Because of the way Harbaugh was acting.
At the end of the day,
they got to match him now.
And Urban Meyer can do it.
They have to match him now.
We had coverage at both locations. Can we pick a winner here? Was there a winner at the end?
I think the kids are the winners today. The kids are the winners today, you know?
Very politically correct. Well, in a political type of season.
Yeah.
And we'll just wrap it on that with Coach Schuman, Miami Mike. I was your host, Ric Seritella, NUC Sportsmag.com. Can't stop, won't stop.